Hi everyone, so I wanted to do a video on how I dealt with having a baby in NICU. So I've made some pointers, quite a few. Number one thing is patience. I'm not a patient person at all. I want things here and now and I find it very hard to be patient. But when your baby is poorly, it's up to them. You're led by them. It could be days, it could be weeks, it could be months until they come home. Don't ever set any dates to say they're going to come home by, because it's up to them. It's the way that they get over whatever they're going through, if they're premature or if they're just poorly. It takes as long as it takes, and I think you've just got to kind of have that in your mind. Number one, be patient, even though it's really hard. Number two, there are going to be ups and there are going to be downs. I think you just got to kind of accept that and focus on the ups, even if they are tiny wins. You know, if they take half a mil more the next feed successfully or whatever it may be, focus on them. It's so easy to get caught up in the negatives that you kind of overlook the positives, but the positives are what keep you going. Number three is set a routine. So I never really looked after myself in the beginning because I was so focused on Robin that I kind of wasn't eating, wasn't looking after myself. I was just sitting by an incubator all day and not really getting a break. And I feel like after a couple of days I said to Mark, this is going to be our life now for however long. We need to set a routine, so we stay at home, so we sleep at home, then we come to the hospital, we're there for ward rounds. After ward round I'd pump. After pumping, we'd see Robin for a bit, and then we'd go have some breakfast, and then we'd come back, see Robin for a bit, then I'd pump, and then we'd go for lunch, and then, kind of breaking your day up a bit so that you have a little routine. And then that, to me, because I'm quite like an organised person, I felt that having a routine was, sort of kind of calming on me, because I knew I was then looking after myself, and because of that I felt better. And a little bit of time away from Robin was good, because number one, I was eating or I was pumping and having a conversation with Mark or whatever it may be, and then I'd be looking forward to going back and sitting with him for a couple of hours, and it just seemed to work out really well. So definitely set a routine. Number four is take pictures. Now, I didn't do this because at the time I thought, I don't want to be reminded of this horrendous shit time that we've been through, but it's so important because this is their story, this is their life. And I thought one day when I'd come home, I think it was early days where I hadn't really taken many pictures, I thought, what happens if something happens to him and I haven't got any pictures of my baby? Do you know what I mean? So I thought, fuck, heaven forbid that he would never make it. It's like, well, I wouldn't have anything to kind of remember him by if I didn't take any pictures. So I was like, no, I need to take more pictures. I need to take more pictures, even though it's shit and they're not very nice, but take them because I think you would regret it. Anyway, so yeah. Number five is talk to other parents who have gone through the same as you. So talk to other parents on the ward. I had a friend who wasn't on the ward, just a friend in life who'd had her two babies in neonatal, and I found it really good to talk to her because she'd gone through it all before. So just kind of find that support network, and you can lean on them, and you're not going through this on your own. People have gone through it before and they could give you tips and tricks and stuff like that in order to, to kind of make you feel better about yourself. 6, the staff are amazing at their job. Like, you feel so helpless, but they are so helpful because that is their shit. They know what they're doing. This is what they do day in, day out, and just, you have to put all your trust in them. You've not got a choice, but they are genuinely amazing. 7, pumping. Pumping gave me something to do for my baby. That's one way that I could look after him, was to pump. So, and I really enjoyed it, and I used to pump like 3 to 4 hours, like what you would have done if you breastfed. So I had loads of milk, and at the time, because of his infection, he wasn't feeding for about a week. So in a week I had a lot of milk, so my freezer was full of milk, the hospital freezer was full of milk, and my mum had a drawer full of milk, so he had lots of milk. So that was really good when he came home, because we were literally had loads of it. What else is there? Number 8 is get involved. So feed them, even if it's through the tube thingy. Feed them, change their nappy, cuddle them, stay at hospital if you can stay at the hospital. Do everything you can to kind of, I don't know, like do things for him. It makes you feel so much better. Like I loved it. Even if it was just feeding him, it was like I felt, oh my God, I'm actually being a mum. I'm being a mum to him. I'm helping. And the staff were really good at encouraging us to do it. They were like, no, you get involved. It's your baby, you know, you do it. And I think you do need that encouragement, because it is so scary. Because I'm like, I don't want to touch him. He's got wires everywhere. I don't want to rip his cannula out or, you know, pull his vent off. Not that I would do, but you kind of think of these things where you think like, oh my God, I don't want to do anything to kind of cause them harm. But you're not, like, at all. You do get used to it. And after I think a couple of days, I was like getting my alcohol antiseptic thing on and going in and doing it, like, and it made me so happy that I could finally like touch him, and yeah, it was great. Number 9, get a free car park pass. Because they're classed as critical care, you get a free car park pass, because hospital car parks are so expensive. So when they're in neonatal, make sure you get a free car parking pass. It's just one less thing to worry about. It's, you know, having a baby's expensive, especially when they're in hospital, because you've got to kind of eat out all the time and all that kind of crap. So free car parking pass. Number 10, we found it easy to deal with by coming home. Because when you come home to your own bed, so you have a better night's sleep, your own shower. You know, the showers in hospitals were rubbish when we did stay, and it's just, I think you kind of relax a little bit more because you're in your own environment. And as hard as it was in the beginning, because he was so poorly, after when he got kind of out of his, kind of, what's the word? When he came out of intensive care, when we were coming home, it was easy to deal with because he wasn't as bad. He was getting better, so I didn't feel as guilty for leaving him. But it just meant that we could go in the morning and we were fully recharged. You know, we had, I say, a decent amount of sleep. I was still pumping, but you know, a better night's sleep, and we were ready for the day and ready to sit by him and look after him again. Number 11, cry. Like, don't be afraid to cry. I cried so much. I've never cried as much in my life. I've never seen Mark cry that much. It was the worst time, but don't bottle it up. Like, get it out, and you need to lean on him. I'm so glad me and Mark went through it together. I don't know how mums go through that shit without any kind of support, because I don't know, it's just awful. It's an awful time. So cry and lean on each other, and you got to be strong for one another as well, even though it's really hard. So yeah, so there's some significant points here that I found were hard to deal with at the time. So the first one was when the baby was taken away. So Mark wasn't there for me to kind of lean on, so I leant on the midwife. She was amazing. She hugged me, and you know, I needed her. I also rang my mum, so my mum came and sat with me, because I had an epidural, so I couldn't go with the baby. So I just needed to I needed someone to support me, basically, because my husband wasn't available for that. So that was how I dealt with that. When the hospital bag was unused and we had to basically put it in the car unused, I only took a nappy out of there. I think that you will use it. It might not be that day, it might not be the next day, it might not be the next week, but you will use your hospital bag at some point, that bag that you so carefully packed all those weeks ago or whatever. You will use it, and you know, you'll be able to dress your baby in your little vest and the little sleep suit and the little hat and the going home outfit or wherever it may be. So yeah, empty car seat, going home without a baby. Again, the baby will go in it, but just not at that time. Just think it will be used. It will be used. When the baby is in an ambulance, they're doing what needs to be done. He needs to go somewhere different. They're used to this. They do it all the time. They transfer babies and people day in, day out. That's their job. So either, if you can go with them, we couldn't, but we went in the car. And then the baby's on the machines. So it's awful to look at when they've got hooked up, and it's just nasty. It's really kind of soul destroying, but again, they're there for a reason. They're keeping your baby alive, and they will come off them at some point, and your baby will be tube free and out of an incubator and in your arms at some point. It's not going to be forever. Also, the loud noises and chaos in NICU is hard as well, even when it's not your baby and you see other babies coming in. And like our baby at the time was well, and he was in front of us, his stats were fine. He was obviously still poorly, but you know, resting and just getting over his infection. And then you see the new admittance, and they're tiny, these tiny babies, and they go to work on them, they're operating on them to open their umbilical back up, and they're trying to hook them up to the machines, and it's just chaos. It's organised chaos. They need to do it to save these babies' lives, but you're like, your heart's going, because number one, you think, is it my baby? No, it's not my baby. You're looking at them, you think, I don't really want to watch this, but then it's like, the way the staff work is incredible, and then you think, like, the poor parents, like, they're having to go through this. Thank God they're not seeing it. Like, we're watching this, but it's not our baby. So it is hard. It's hard, like, but they're there for a reason. These things happen. Without all this intervention, you know, the babies wouldn't be alive. So it's just one of those things you got to deal with. And thank God we have the NHS, hospitals, the staff. It's just, oh, the equipment is amazing. Like, me and Mark will always be forever grateful for that, because it saved Robin. Like, we would not be here now. Well, we would be here, but he would not be here. So it's sad. Sad. But yeah. So we're just very, 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 very grateful, and I don't ever want to go through this ever again, ever. Like, obviously we want more children, but I don't want to do it again because it's hard. But it's what you got to do, and if it happens again, then we'll deal with it. But we're out of it now, and I hope this can help some people, and I think that's about it. So I shall see you in my next video.